What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3. This is going to be pretty much the same type of game as yesterday. We got VPP all day here on the HeflaTV Hitbox 1 stream. We're going to be following as they plow through, or try to plow through, CCK, and then I believe we have Hellraisers and then Moscow 5 in that order. So good luck to VPP. They have a lot of games ahead of them, but as I said, HeflaTV Hitbox 1, we're going to bring you all those games. I'm Mike Loris, and I also have Grandis with me. How you doing, man?
Doing fine. CCK, I hadn't seen them play until yesterday. I was on the Hitbox 2 channel, and they were on the majority of those games. And on both of the series that were on that channel, they went 1-1. Pretty surprisingly, they tend to struggle very heavily if they don't get a favorable draft. And although I didn't watch the VPP games, it seems that they're just on a higher level. So, I don't know, CCK, they're definitely the underdogs, but I think they have a chance to at least take a game off of VPP.
Yeah, yesterday there were some interesting circumstances. First of all, the result. Anyone who doesn't want to know, it's time to turn it off now. But CCK ended up dropping 0-2 to VPP as in game number one of their players disconnected, and they already used all their pause time, so they had to play 4v5. It was only a disruptor, so it wasn't too bad. But they didn't end up winning that one. And then the second game, one of VP's players disconnected, but then they just played without it anyway, and they still won. So it is definitely going to be a hard fight for CCK. That being said, I also haven't seen them until yesterday, and I don't know exactly how they play. I've only seen 2 games of them. So, maybe they could pull something a little bit strange out and surprise us and VP at the same time.
Yeah, for now, we're into this draft. The first picks coming out from both sides with the Brewmaster Tidehunter for CCK and Centaur Venge for Virtus Pro Polar. Both teams getting some pretty solid heroes. Looks like VP are more inclined to go aggressive with their picks, and coalition of cool killers. They're looking more towards the team fight, but until now, it's pretty hard to tell what exactly the teams are planning, and the bans are probably going to reflect that. We see Lich taken out and a Morphling.
Yeah, these are all heroes that we have just seen yesterday being played quite heavily, along with the Slark and the Ogre, who have been getting so much priority. And hold on, 1 second.
Okay, well, it appears that we have some dog problems over on Mike Lore's side, so hopefully he hasn't muted me as well, so he can still hear something during the draft, I suppose. But yeah, there's been a different sort of metagame during this tournament at the very least. It's interesting that neither of these teams have banned out the Wisp. We haven't seen that hero available. Most teams have been taking him out in the first banning stage, and if either team wants to pick it up, it's a pretty decent hero to snag for themselves. Although, I think it would fit better with Virtus Pro Polar's lineup if they wanted to go for something along those lines and get sort of some global ganking going on with the Blinking Centaur and Venge to follow up.
Yeah, I haven't seen them play it yesterday, so maybe that's just not on the table for them. Something I would expect from VP is the puck moving forward. They just ran that all day yesterday, although it was typically a DK Phobos hero, and there is a Centaur on the field, so maybe that's not exactly going to line up, but they do love themselves a little bit of that hero. Bristleback is going to be banned out in the end, so, well, VP, they are going to have a little bit of a stymied picks as far as their aggression is concerned, as Bristleback is one of the best heroes if you're going to go aggressive early. He can peak very early, and then he can deliver some serious physical damage, and then Medusa. So, yes, CCK are definitely going for this huge sort of team fight kind of lineup. The big question is whether or not they fully commit to it. I think between Tide and Brewmaster, they have enough, and they should be okay moving away from that direction.
Yeah, and I think picking up some sort of damage in their supports, maybe, but definitely in their safe lane farm, whatever that may be. I expect right now, Tidehunter and Brewmaster to be as solo laners.
And that's usually a pretty safe assumption. Yeah, they could pick up, some pretty aggressive supports. Skywrath Mage still in the pool, and would actually be pretty good for Virtus Pro, although I think they have been kind of avoiding that hero as of late. I don't know if it's because they don't think it's good, or if they just don't like playing it. For whatever reason, yesterday we saw very few games of that, but I mean, it would be pretty good against both Tidehunter and Brewmaster, and there we go. I mean, sometimes it's just so good to have a point-click silence that comes out really quickly. You can't afford to pass it up.
Yeah, and it combos decently well with what they already have. Getting a Blinking Centaur with that Ancient Seal as well as a Mystic Flare on top of it. There's hardly a hero in the game that can survive that level of burst. And in the early stages, combos well with the Vengeful Spirit. Even if it wasn't just a really standard pick, I think it combos well with what they have, and it's good against the enemy team. I think he is too good to pass up here.
Yeah, we've seen this opening quite a few times in the past. I mean, you have so much magical damage, a good amount of lockdown with these 3 heroes. even if they don't end up playing together in lane directly, a rotation in from a bench Scarith Mage can kill off pretty much anyone. Like Tidehunter Brewmaster, yeah, they're tanky, but this is a crap ton of damage from VPP. So CCK, they have to get some, I would say, pretty defensive heroes if they want to sustain through this, or get some pretty offensive heroes of their own. That being said, the pool of offensive supports not exactly too deep anymore, as Virtus Pro, I would say, have either taken or taken out most of the really great ones.
Yeah, I think Earthshaker is probably one of your safe supports left in the pool for them. It would leave them very melee heavy, however, and it can get in the way of a Tidehunter Brewmaster. Although with Blink Daggers, all three of them can initiate very well. Could be a problem, and they might avoid it because of it. They're going to go for the Witch Doctor, which is a pretty solid support and decently defensive, but I don't know, it doesn't really excel. He is going to combo very well inside the team fight, however. The Tidehunter Ravage plus that Death Ward. As for VPP, it's going to be a Naga.
Oh man, saw a couple of Naga games yesterday from VPP. They did end up getting pretty long, as Naga Siren games usually do. It's Illidan Naga, who previously took it to the mid lane, I think both times. So I'm expecting to see that. And then CCK, I think they did pick up an Anti-Mage over on Hitbox TV2 yesterday. So yeah, maybe they are just going to go for the same exact game plan. Anti-Mage versus Naga Siren. It is Anti-Mage with a small period where he's a lot stronger, but I would say overall in the grand scheme of things, Naga Siren, as far as carrying games, is a little bit more desirable.
Yeah, definitely. Anti-Mage in that particular game was crucial in bringing them back. He had an abysmal start, got his Battle Fury at like 25 minutes, and then after that he just farmed an absolute storm, didn't die a single time, and brought his team back after seemingly unsurmountable odds. Everybody on the other side was above his net worth, and Anti-Mage just shot up and carried the game on his back. So hopefully for CCK, even if they have a poor start to begin with, they'll be able to rely on this Anti-Mage to get that farm. But up against a Naga, it's pretty questionable whether that's going to happen. I think defending his farm is going to be pretty crucial.
And it's going to be a little bit easier for VPP to defend the Naga Siren's farm just by playing aggressive with their previous 3 picks. They're looking for one more hero, I believe, for Mag. So his pool yesterday was pretty wide, so they could really go for anything. They want, at the bare minimum, a hero that can fight. Venomancer was the pick yesterday for one of their Naga Siren games, and it's clearly not going to be the pick now, having been banned out. But for CCK, they need another support hero, and Anti-Mage, he already has quite a few counters picked up on VPP. I mean, it is, in theory, a good carry hero, but there are just so many ways that VP have of dealing with them. Maybe physical damage is a bit low for dealing with the Anti-Mage, but aside from that, like, they have silences and then stuns and then lots of pain, so I mean, you could probably get a kill or two off of that.
Yeah, especially in the early portion of the game, that magic damage is going to be really huge. And even if he does have some decent tank with like a Manta style maxed out spell shield, this amount of burst doesn't really get stopped by that. You're going to need like a hard on top of it to hope to survive. And Anti-Mage, you can't really rely on him having that much farm at the portion of game where they're going to be active. And eventually Naga Siren's going to have a decent amount of physical damage of her own, although she's going to rely very heavily on the magic as well. I think the biggest issue for Anti-Mage is that all of the other heroes are going to die around him, and then 1v5 he can't really do it.
The dream, of course, is to have Brewmaster split and then Tidehunter Ravage, and then that's just so much time where VP are kind of in this chaotic, confused state that Anti-Mage kind of sneaks in along with the Death Ward and just kills everyone. Of course, that is just in Magical Christmas Land, and that doesn't always happen. But if you do manage to line it up correctly, then really it's hard for anyone to withstand that. Song of the Siren, though, would be one of the best tools at getting out of that. And, well, VP, they're actually going to pick up a Viper. It's a solid pickup for sure. Haven't seen them play it yesterday at all. They've been avoiding that hero like the plague. But when you are talking about fighting early and when you're talking about adding a little bit of physical damage at dealing with an Anti-Mage, Viper is probably your guy since Razor is already out.
Yeah, for sure. It's still unclear exactly how VPP are going to lane these heroes, whether Naga's going to be mid or Viper's going to be mid. I think it's safe to put either of them up against the Brewmaster. He should be able to have a decent time. And on the Radiant side, Naga Siren can probably benefit from those extra camps better than the Viper can, and I think it's just going to be a safe lane Viper. But if they do, Viper can definitely handle the Tidehunter by himself, and that'll leave Vengeful Spirit and Scarith Mage some pretty big openings to roam, put some pressure onto all of the lanes, in particular onto the Anti-Mage. Ganking a Centaur's lane is fairly easy.
Illidan also ran the Naga Siren mid against a Tidehunter, and that may be in the CCK's minds that they can run a Tidehunter mid expecting a Naga Siren to go there. It was a very even lane, actually. You would expect Tidehunter to come on top most of the time, but Naga Siren drew even in that scenario, and Earthshaker, as you said before, is going to be the safe support pick for CCK. We'll add just a little bit more team fight into their team comp. And Blink Daggers for CCK in this game, probably more so than others, going to be so important. You have to get right on top of the Naga Siren and very quickly kill her off, else she just sings and then runs away.
Yeah. And at least for the Earthshaker, that Blink Dagger is probably not going to come out for quite some time. I think Brewmaster is the first one to come up, and that's going to be the first, I don't know, trigger for CCK to go aggressive. As for VPP, they can go out from the gate and look for kills. With Vengeful Spirit and Scarith Mage, level 1 is really all you need. Maybe not to kill the Anti-Mage, you'd love to have the silence available from the Scarith Mage as well. But still, everybody else is probably going to fall just to Arcane Bolts and Magic Missiles.
That is just a crap ton of damage, and it's pretty cheap as well. If you just jump in with Magic Missile, 2 or 3 Arcane Bolts, you could probably get a kill without committing too much of your health or mana pool, really. So we'll see how these lanes actually pan out. It is going to be a DK Phobos hero on the Viper. He's going to be playing that on the bottom lane, and it is going to be an aggressive tri-lane for VP with Rain for X-Gods. I believe FNG, not confirmed though, on the Vengeful Spirit. Lil is going to be on the Scarith Mage, Mag is on the Centaur Warrunner, and Illidan is going to be handling the Naga Siren mid.
And on the Dire side, we're going to have the Coalition of Cool Killers, or CCK, with Villic leading the charge up in top lane on the Earthshaker. The Witch Doctor is going to be played by Suki. Anti-Mage will be handled by, excuse me, my goodness, I can't read his name to save my life. Nico Baby. That's actually a different player than was on the Anti-Mage last game. K3K on the Brewmaster towards the mid, leaving last but not least Flowx on the Tidehunter off lane.
Yeah, I didn't think I saw Nico Baby yesterday, but it was only 2 games, and who knows? Maybe it is just random stand-ins. Maybe they just had some problems. Maybe whoever disconnected from the last series just never reconnected at all. And well, hopefully Nico Baby can perform. And from what I've seen of him, he's at the very least a solid player. So you probably expect a solid performance in that regard. Bottom lane, well, we have Viper versus Tidehunter. This is not going to be the most fun lane for Tidehunter. However, he does have a crap ton of regen. Viper actually has a lot of restoration as well. Maybe he expected an aggressive tri-lane down here. Usually you don't open up with 5 tangos if you know you're going to be up against a Tide.
Yeah, I think it's safe to assume that they were kind of hoping, or not hoping, but expecting a dodge coming out from CCK. But I think Virtus Pro Polar, they have all of the lanes that they could want. Naga mid versus Brewmaster should have a pretty free time. Although both heroes thrive in melee versus melee matchups, it should be a pretty even trade as far as farm is concerned. But Illidan should be happy with that, and he'll always have those extra jungle camps to fall back on. Top lane, Anti-Mage shouldn't be able to get very much of anything, and there's always that kill potential coming out from these 3. So I think Virtus Pro are going to be really happy with how these lanes are shaking down.
Yeah, already we saw Rain Magic Missile the Earthshaker, 2 or 3 hits, and Earthshaker already down to about 2/3 of his HP, and now a couple of illusions, scouting everything out, even messing with the camps. This is going to be a very, very difficult lane on top. I mean, Scarith Mage, Vengeful Spirit is bad enough. Add a Centaur for, one of the highest early game kill potentials in the game. Your combo is certainly going to be there. And Witch Doctor, Earthshaker, they have a lot of stuns, they have a lot of interrupts, and if they catch Rain like this, they can very well get first blood. Rain has got to run back towards his team. He's going to throw a Magic Missile towards Villic. I don't know if they have enough damage for that. Rain now is going to be jumped on by Nico Baby. This Vengeful looking for a neutral deny, will not find it. Anti-Mage draws first blood. Now the Centaur Hoof Stomp is going to chain stun everyone as Suki just right-clicks off from the side. Nico Baby looking for another blink out. He will find it as well. Suki looks like he's going to be fine, and actually, just like that, poor positioning from Vengeful Spirit leads to first blood drawn by the Anti-Mage.
Unfortunate for them, that's going to mean that this top lane's a lot harder for them, and Anti-Mage is the one to draw that first blood, so even though he's not farming for this first wave, still making up for that fact since he does get that extra infusion of gold. This lane isn't over for Virtus Pro Polars. With good positioning, they still have potential to come back in this lane, but they need to be careful not to leak too many heroes. If they die once or twice more, they're going to be in a whole lot of trouble, as their goal in this lane is going to be completely failed. Villic dropping to 19 HP, casually to a melee creep trailing him, and everybody's going to have to drop back to the base. Yeah.
It's not going to be the best start for VPP, but they still have more than enough tools in order to deal with this. It's mostly like an exception. Like, you don't expect your Vengeful Spirit to get caught out from a fissure and just get completely walled off between a whole bunch of heroes. So, as long as they could avoid that very easily avoidable situation, then they should be fine. They also started things off with an Observer Ward block on the pull camp, and it is going to be, well, actually the hard camp blocked by the Dire, but for right now, CCK, they have no pull. They misplaced their Sentry Ward, and usually you see a Sentry Ward more around here, and that usually is going to be enough to get rid of anything the enemy can place, but this Observer Ward is going to both be protecting VP and denying a pull, so double duty for that Observer.
Yeah, CCK are going to deny the pull away from Virtus Pro Polars, so neither team's going to have a great way to reset the lane equilibrium, but currently it's looking good for VP since the Centaur is able to get farm, and Anti-Mage currently only on 2 CS, and right now it seems that that's not going to change. He buys a salve, buys a TP, and that First Blood, even though it's nice for the Anti-Mage, if he's not farming lane, it doesn't really help him that much, and he's not progressing as far as items are concerned. In mid, Naga Siren is trading with the Brewmaster kind of as to be expected. Bottles coming out from both sides eventually, although Brewmaster prioritizes his boots earlier on, does have the bottle flying out to him on the courier.
The real loser of this early game laning stage is FlawX. He has 0 CS, 0 denies. He is level 3, so he's been, chilling in the area, getting some experience, just leeching it. But Viper has been keeping this lane on lockdown, and that's exactly what you would expect from a Viper at any given versus melee lineup. So Viper's going to have a very easy time down here, and it's in fact so easy that he's going to be going for Hand of Midas. He has been favoring this item, even when he's been playing as the Puck. After Blink Dagger, he's been going for Midas, so it's a pretty standard DK Phobos way to build up any hero, and off of this great of a start, it would be anyone building the same item.
Yeah, I think that's fair. In a free lane, even if it's a hero that generally doesn't get the Midas, I think it's worthwhile since, I don't know, nothing else that you're going to get is going to impact the game immediately. Even if you went for, like, Mechanism, they wouldn't be able to actually push towers with it. I think getting the Midas, it's not going to delay his effectiveness in the game, and then later on, the bigger items come out, and that's where it really starts to shine.
Mid lane, Illidan dropping fairly low. He doesn't have his bottle running just yet. Back to him, so you got to be careful about that. They're going to go on top lane, though. Lil's going to get hit with the fissure and cast. Lots of magic damage on him, but Nico Baby going to get double edge, dropping very low himself. Centaur needs one more hit, but he's going to get body blocked. Nico Baby, with the Voodoo Restoration, is going to survive. Where was the Vengeful Spirit in that? She was off securing the 4-minute rune. That was actually a very nicely timed jump in from CCK. Unfortunately, it was just not enough, and, well, their anti-mage also dropped pretty low as well, so aggression on the top lane, and, well, if FNG actually isn't up there as the Venge, then it is possible, very possible, for CCK to catch the very soft Scarith Mage off guard and get that kill.
Yeah, for now, nothing's going to be traded up in top lane, but both teams are trading most of their regen. Lil's forced all the way back to base. Centaur is getting pretty low in that department as well. Just one tango to his name. Although Centaur, 1,000 gold in his pocket, he's going to have a very fast Blink Dagger if he keeps up this farming pace.
Man, bottom lane is just disgustingly in favor of Viper. Now he's level 6. He could actually go for a solo kill on FlawX. Although 1 point in poison attack is not the strongest, I think I would have liked to see him prioritize poison attack a little bit more so than Nether Toxin. You may have to deal with Kraken Shell, but you will be able to sustain that poison. And right now FlawX is fast enough to keep himself safe, although he is taking a lot of damage. Viper's Viper Strike, once he drops that, it's going to pretty much ensure a kill on FlawX. If he has mana, and he doesn't, so it's 5 minutes in and only one first blood kill. That was, quite honestly, as I said, an exception kill. You don't expect that to happen all the time. And CCK, well, their anti-mage is farming okay, but the CS is being led by VP Polar. I would say that is kind of to be expected, just with their bottom lane especially, but also, like, maybe you could expect a Brewmaster to outlane an Naga Siren, but you can't expect a Brewmaster to outlane Illidan.
Yeah, that's fair. Villic made his way towards mid, but hasn't accomplished much with it. This is a level 2 Earthshaker, and outside of being involved in First Blood, hasn't done anything. He's going to stack up for his Tidehunter as well, but still, FlawX and this Earthshaker aren't really getting anything at all, and that's probably going to maintain the case. Right now, he's going to be sending out some tangos to himself. Right now, he hasn't been able to do anything. Without the pull, Earthshaker is kind of lost for any ability to do anything. Suki silenced up. The Arcane Bolts, one more auto attack is all that they need, and they'll find it right before the TP goes. And Vengeful Spirit going to notch a kill on the Witch Doctor, tying up the kill score 1-1.
Haste Rune on Vengeful Spirit was, I don't know if it was completely necessary there. It was certainly nice for closing the gap, but Witch Doctor is not capable of escaping those types of situations, especially when you get silenced right before you can possibly get the Voodoo Restoration out. If he had that, I think he probably would have survived, but obviously not the case. Illidan mid, in quite a bit of trouble, is going to get split upon. Villic is going to get stunned up. Concussive is going to slow the Earthshaker down, but that's not the problem. It's the Brewmaster who's going to be going for Illidan. He is going to not drop the Naga Siren just yet. Has Song, but it won't do anything. Body blocking from the Vengeful Spirit is going to keep Illidan safe. Very well played by the Venge. In the meantime, Scarith Mage taking a couple trips to the air, but they're going to now turn around and try to chase forward for Villic. Song of the Siren is going to deny the Shaker's escape. He has a fissure, and he's going to need to use it if he wants to escape, but the damage might just be enough to kill him off beforehand. No, he lives with one more right click to his name. I think Illidan has enough speed to catch up to the Shaker and kill him off. Wave of Terror, one more swipe. There it is. Earthshaker down. Now Keck coming in from the back line. Does have a low fork clap, and Illidan is going to have no part of that. He's going to run off to the north. You don't really want to have your Naga Siren die right now, but actually Naga Siren might make a clean escape. No one from the top lane is rotating in. Illidan could just circle around and be just fine. So it's a well-played counter gank by VP Polar. In fact, extremely well-played, especially by this Venge.
Yeah, Tidehunter makes his way towards mid. He's going to gush up Illidan as well as get the Anchor Smash off. Is the damage there? I don't think so, but now with Brewmaster jumping in, the Fissure misses. Illidan's going to survive. My goodness, what was that?
First of all, it was like suicide play from Illidan. If you walk in that area with like 200 HP, you're probably gonna die. But thankfully for him, Villic was he was sleeping or something. He was a little bit drunk. That Fissure should have landed, and like 99 times out of 100, that Fissure will land. But sometimes you just draw that 1 out of 100, and you end up messing up real bad.
Yeah, and Earthshaker is a hero that if you get off to a slow start and you're just not missing those fissures, you can just have a bad day with the hero. It is, I don't know, just not the easiest of heroes to pull off, but that fissure should have been very straightforward. And lucky enough for Illidan, he doesn't die there. Is starting to pull up gold towards his Radiance, or at least that's the expected item progression, as he does have the Aquila and bottle already finished.
Yeah, most likely he is going to be going for that. And CCK, even though they kind of tried to apply pressure on Illidan, all that pressure really doesn't mean that much, because Illidan is still farming when he wants to be farming and escaping scenarios. And, well, top lane, they're going to look to set up. They have a Stampede, silence onto Nico Baby, concussive shot as well. They're going to close in for Magic Missile Hoof Stomp. They will layer it a little bit, but Anti-Mage is not durable enough to withstand both a Magic Missile that's amplified and a Double Edge is level 3. Way too much damage for AM, and the difference is shown right there. Illidan, he is surviving the gank attempts and continuing to farm, whereas Anti-Mage, that was the first real gank attempt, and he had no chance.
Yeah, Anti-Mage is sitting at close CS to the Naga Siren. He only has the Ring of Health to his name, however, and lost quite a decent chunk of gold from that death. And now Mag's about to have that Blink Dagger, and the ganks are going to be that much scarier, as Anti-Mage can't be farming here if there's a Blink on Centaur.
Yeah, and Centaur is so very close to that item. Even if Anti-Mage is alone, he only has 1 point Spell Shield. He has gone for 1 level of stats, and then 2 Blink. It's kind of a weird build for the Anti-Mage. It's fine in most scenarios if you expect to be completely free farming, just go 1-1-1, then a whole bunch of stats, the quote-unquote burning build. But now that Centaur has an outrageously fast Blink Dagger, or he will in 40 gold, then the Anti-Mage is no longer going to feel comfortable going with this build, especially when there is also a Vengeful Spirit and a Scarith Mage who are getting pretty well leveled themselves. FNG is going to get a little bit of free time as, oh man, I missed it. I knew it was going to happen eventually. Black's going to die solo to the Viper. Just a Viper Strike walk down. But Vengeful Spirit and the Scarith Mage, they're getting a little bit of levels here and there, especially Venge in the middle lane. A quick swap, a quick Mystic Flare, and Anti-Mage's life is even worse, if that's even possible.
Yeah, it's not pretty. He does have Power Treads, a little bit more strength for him to survive those ganks if he's fast on the Tread swap. But D-Ward comes out on top, coming out from VP Polar as well to deny the lane ward coming out from the Anti-Mage. And CCK, there's just not going to be a safe place for this Anti-Mage to farm, really. Nico Baby is going to find a difficult time getting any traction in this game, especially if he's saving up for Battle Fury, which it looks like that's going to be his choice. We are going to see a jump with the Magic Missile. It might be enough to save FNG, especially with the Centaur ultimate. There's not enough bridge gap, and it's going to be the Earthshaker instead to die up top as the Centaur gets a Blink Initiation, Double Edge, but a secondary Blink clap onto the Venge. It's going to be the end of his life as K3K finds himself a free one.
Man, that was a blink in into Pop Illusion Rune. And usually that isn't too scary, but when your illusions also have Drunken Brawler crits, they actually do quite a bit of damage, like a regular hero's worth of damage, and Vengeful Spirit died almost straight up to that. I almost thought she was going to survive because Brewmaster was too greedy and didn't use the split, but it is just going to be a 1-for-1 support for support trade in the end. Brewmaster with his Blink, Centaur with his, and they're both going to be pretty potent threats moving forward. Lil has really got to be careful on this mid lane. A Blink in from Keck with a split is more than enough to kill off that Scarith Mage. They're going to go for top. Mag very quickly losing all his mana. Has no Hoof Stomp, but does have a Double Edge. He's going to face a Mana Void, but that won't be lethal. And they're going to back off. Logs has also made his rotation up here. Do CCK really think they could take this tower? I don't think so. I don't know why the Tidehunter is actually here, though he can't really be on bottom lane, so I guess being anywhere but there is fine.
Yeah, he does have the Ravage, so maybe just the threat of that's enough to help them push this tower, but Vengeful Spirit pulls off the creep aggro. They'll put a little bit of damage on it. See Earthshaker down in bottom. Again, another walk down from DK Phobos. They can't come to this bottom lane anymore. This Viper already has the point booster and 1 component gold worth towards his Aghanim Scepter. This is incredibly scary and a very tanky Viper that has so much damage with that maxed out Nether Toxin.
The best bet for CCK is to put him up in the air with a Brewmaster, or Ravage him or Fissure him. Stunlock him and ignore him is probably the best bet, especially once this item comes up. I mean, Viper doesn't even have a Ring of Basilius, Ring of Aquila, which is usually an expected item for the hero, just because he is, usually a heavy consumer of mana. But if no one actually goes to the lane, then he has all the time in the world to regenerate his mana pool. Flawlix on top is going to get Mystic Flared, and he is just going to drop like a rock. No chance for any hero to withstand that combo. If Tidehunter can't do it, then no one can do it. Maybe Nico Baby, actually, if he gets another point in Magic Shield, but it's not going to be the case as FNG. He's going to stun Nico Baby, but all of a sudden, actually turn around for Mag, going to assassinate Suki in the backline as Keck is still invisible. Deciding to not split just yet, but he's going to blink forward, and now the Stampede is there. Vengeful Spirit is home free. And Centaur, still in an awkward position, does have a blink and a TP though, so it's going to be very difficult for CCK to catch up, let alone kill Mag. It looks like Mag is actually looking for more aggression somewhere else. He doesn't have any mana, so I think he's just trying to avoid the enemies as best as possible. He doesn't want to TP out, but that's fine. I mean, 8 for 2 VPP are doing just fine, and this is all pretty much a 4v5. Naga Siren has been farming all the while, is getting dangerously close to that relic.
Yeah. Right now, it's the Viper to top the net worth chart, but that's kind of to be expected with a Midas and getting 2 solo kills as well. Naga Siren's farming pretty well on top of that. Villic in mid on a secret mission, going to be diving the tower, has a fissure, but there's nobody else here close. Oh, I spoke too soon. K3K gets the split off onto Illidan. No mana for the song. Illidan's going to fall, and even with the song, he probably would have died to those Brewlings. Yeah, Brewmaster coming from the south was too much for the Naga Siren. Wasn't expecting that Earthshaker to fissure from behind the tower.
Man, that's actually really smart usage of split from Keck. I mean, it is just, you go in, split the Naga Siren, easy peasy, but he's been holding his split for a very long time, and that's because the Centaur has been holding his Stampede. If the Brewmaster jumps in, claps splits, and he has to deal with the Stampede, generally he doesn't get those kills. So he waited until he knew the Centaur's ultimate was down before he actually committed the split. I think kind of just by pure circumstance, the Naga Siren was the target to be under focus while that was happening. Like, the timings just lined up like that, so it worked out very well for CCK in that regard. But Brewmaster using his split in a very safe way, and Scarith Mage, man, with the help of just Venge, yeah, that was 2 supports killing your carry. That's not supposed to happen, but that's something that Scarith Mage does extremely well.
Yeah, Swap Silence, Magic Missile, Mystic Flare. Didn't stand a chance. There was nothing he could do in that situation except for not being that lane top. My goodness, Witch Doctor going to be stomped, double edge. It's not enough damage straight up. He still needs a little bit more. Voodoo Restoration working wonders. And now CCK is going to jump into Mag under the tower. The TP is going to be canceled by a fissure if nothing else, and that's a killing spree down the drain. Usually going for the solo Witch Doctor is really easy for the Centaur, but with this much TP support, it's not the case.
It did force 3 people to teleport up there, which is, I guess, a nice little benefit for the Centaur, but 9 times out of 10 you're going to be able to kill off the Witch Doctor in that scenario. Just fell a little bit short. Maybe that 1 point in return that he picked up previously is not going to be that final point in Hoof Stomp. It would have made a difference. I don't know if that is going to be possible, but who knows. It is either way Centaur going down, and well, he just has to know that he has to have a little bit of support for going for ganks like that, and that's very easy. A Magic Missile or an Ancient Seal or a Concussive Shot, like all just minor things, could have swung the difference there, and they could have gotten in and gotten out, but all the while, Viper, I mean, generally in these types of lineups, it's like the Naga Siren is the ticking time bomb, but in this game, it's more so the Viper. He almost has Aghanims, if not outright has it. He does have it. So, yeah, level 2 Viper Strike with a 12-second cooldown is freaking ridiculous.
It is, and he has 700 gold on top of that. Viper is going to be well on his way towards his next item, whatever it may be. I don't know, maybe like a Manta style this game, maybe something even more aggressive, whatever it is. DK Phobos is incredibly scary, and now he's going to be taking the aggression to the enemy team. Already CSing like a champ, 123, 2 kills to his name. He's now looking to notch another one onto his belt as Villic might be on the receiving end of this gank, does spot out the smoke from the high ground, and Villic's trying to make his way out of here. If a Viper Strike connects, he's probably going to die. Will the jukes be enough? He's under tower currently, trying to find his way into the trees, and a TP away will make sure that Earthshaker survives. His DK Phobos is just chilling here. The hoof stomp, way too late for Mag.
Well, CCK, they're going to look to reinforce potentially. They do have a split from the Brewmaster. They should have a Ravage. I don't think I've actually seen one this game. But, on paper, if they really want to defend this top lane tower, they should be able to with a split and a Ravage. But VP, they have the Silence, they have Magic Missile, they have an extremely bulky Viper. It's not even going to be a defense right now for CCK. A very easy destruction on the top lane. At the very least, it's going to be buying more time for Illidan to be getting his items up, and he is actually already holding the recipe. I thought he would have had the Relic by now, but he's going to stagger his item purchases just a little bit. He will have that item by 20 minutes at absolute maximum if he dies. So Radiance, that's like step 1 for the Naga Siren, and with Illidan's farming rate, with how comfortable he is with that hero, all the subsequent items are very soon to come.
Yeah. I believe he bought that recipe before he died. It's to minimize his gold that he lost. So, I don't know, it's efficiency coming out from Illidan. He's going to have that incredibly fast. And our Centaur, he's actually going to decide to go to a Vanguard, presumably for a Crimson Guard. Suki's in a bit of a pickle here, going to show himself with an auto attack, jumping from the Centaur. Not a hoof stomp necessary as he just double edges him down. However, with some gush support coming out from the Titan, Centaur ultimate's going to be necessary to get him out of there. DK Phobos now pursuing down the Earthshaker. Centaur tries to make his escape into the enemy base, has a Blink Dagger towards the side as well as the TP. Should be able to make it out unless they commit the Ravage inside the jungle. Villock being focused down by the Viper, gonna die to the Viper Strike. And now K3K gets off the split. Probably gonna throw DK Phobos up in the air and focus down FNG as he does throw the boulder his way, trying to pursue. Vengeful Spirit's a little too fast for him, getting earned up. He's not going to die. Now a secondary Viper Strike going to Flawexy Silence. Can't get anything off. Anchor Smash into the Mystic Fire. He's going to fall. It's 2-0. Vengeful Spirit still pursued by the Brewmaster. He is now back in his normal form. Has a blink. Clap's going to miss. And Vengeful Spirit now looking to make a turn. Going to swap. They have a Magic Missile cooling down. Probably not going to be necessary, or maybe it will. Not enough mana for it, and he's going to be able to make it back to base with a TP. Meanwhile, Nagasiren's been farming, gets her Radiance up, and now going strong into Nico Baby. He's probably not going to be able to get this tower, but he's going to try his darndest. No deny, song used for it. Illidan just a little too late in that button.
Not really a huge deal. Nico Baby should be fine, just straight blink out. And Snare, though, is going to keep him locked in. Now the Radiance Burn starting to go to work. Nico Baby can turn around. Mana Void not doing nearly enough. Blink out. Anti-Mage is barely going to survive at 45 HP. In the meantime, Suki, once again on the receiving end of a Centaur hoof. And that's never where you want to be as any hero. Witch Doctor not having a good time, and that's completely to be expected. 13-4, and VP, even though they do lose the tier 1 tower on the bottom lane, they have a huge amount of wins. Brewmaster struggling to kill off a support Vengeful Spirit should not very frequently be happening, and we saw the power of Viper's Viper Strike right there. First of all, it just does a crap ton of damage. The additional cast range is absolutely amazing, and, well, he got, I think, 3 of those out. I mean, he targeted the Witch Doctor, then the Earthshaker, then the Tidehunter, and it brought them all down. Phobos is going to take a fissure. Is he tanky enough to escape this? He should be, especially with the Ravage. DK Phobos can take quite a bit of damage, and he's going to turn around for a Viper Strike, stick up. It's not quite enough. You know, 5 heroes, maybe a little bit too much for Viper, but I'm sure next time he might have a little bit of a better chance if he had a little bit of support. Either way, Viper down. That's a much-needed kill for CCK.
Yeah, they do commit almost everything Earthshaker Echo Slams the ground as Viper dies, just to ensure that they get that kill. He buys the Mythril Hammer as well before falling, so Viper is not going to be losing that much, but it's still, as you said, a much-needed kill, giving a lot of experience, especially towards CCK. In the meantime, Nagasiren's continuously farming up, and with that Radiance now going towards that next item is going to be incredibly fast. I expect Illidan to go for Boots of Travel into the Manta style, but Yasha wouldn't surprise me either. No matter what it is, it's going to accelerate his farm rate.
In the previous games, it has just been a very, very standard travel Manta style type of build, and you can never really go wrong with that. That's why it's called a standard build, right? I mean, the Nagasiren has had Radiance for like 2 or 3 minutes. Anti-Mage just now picking up his Battle Fury, which actually isn't too bad. I thought with the situation Anti-Mage was in, his Battle Fury would have been delayed a little bit more. So now he could start farming, and he already has the Power Treads up. So Nico Baby is going to farm pretty darn quickly. The only problem is VP have shown that they're not willing to sit back and let anyone just get away with anything on CCK. They're playing pretty aggressively, and Anti-Mage, though he may get a kill participation right here, I don't think he's going to get that much aside from that. Phobos is going to get fissured. DK Phobos going to get clapped, as well as Haze now dropped to a crawl. Death Ward as well. He's going to get stampeded out, and that's exactly what VP were waiting for. Now they're going to try to turn around on this Earth Panda. No way of actually locking him down or slowing him. Throwing the Centaur up into the air is going to delay everything, but CCK engage on the Viper, use a split, use everything except the kitchen sink, and they can't get the Viper. He's just too tanky, and since he has a BKB in the works, next time they won't even come close to getting that kill.
Yeah, definitely right now. Illidan going to be pushing down the bottom lane in the meantime as the rest of his team's fighting, and eventually they're going to have to deal with this Nagasiren. It's going to come online a lot faster as Anti-Mage, because Anti-Mage is trying to be involved in the kills, whereas Illidan has just been straight up farming, sending his Legions to push out lanes, to farm some jungle, but now they're going to try to pursue him down. Anti-Mage again is in the vicinity, as is Illidan. Invised up. The Radiance Burn, I don't think that's going to tick onto the low ground, and they'd have to be really careful to notice it. Now Suki should know that he's getting Radiance Burn down, and Illidan invised up. They probably don't know that he's actually here, unless they were checking his bottle diligently. Yeah.
Suki has a sentry, though. He's going to drop it, and now Illidan knows about it. So that could have been potentially very bad for Illidan if Suki just instantly dropped the sentry, but little bit of hesitation here and there, and it's going to mean the clean escape. We do see Lil picking up a Blink Dagger right now, and together with Mag, I mean, the two of them could have already killed off pretty much anyone, but now they'll kill off pretty much anyone with a little bit more surprise, I suppose. I mean, it's going to be FNG to spot everything out first. He's going to blow a smoke, and he's now completely surrounded by strength heroes. But Vengeful Spirit doesn't care. He knows that Viper is right behind him. They're going to stampede forward. Who's it going to be? Nico Baby. He will not dodge that Viper Strike. Swap back now onto Villic into a Hoof Stomp. Double Edge. Not quite going to be enough, but with one Viper attack, it will. Now FNG in a little bit of trouble, but they will get a little bit of cover from Lil. Silencing Nico Baby, allowing the Vengeful Spirit to escape. Viper's going to kill off the Earthshaker. Flawx using Ravage there for pretty much nothing. And if a fight breaks out right now, even though CCK... Actually, no, they don't have a split either. They really cannot take a fight. They're going to smoke and run away. This tower is now forfeit up top.
Yeah, not a single thing they can do about it. They're going to potentially look for Naga Siren, but she's in the base and just letting her illusions do the dirty work. 2,000 gold, it is boots of travel for the Naga Siren, and they're going to try to sneak a Roshan. They do have a Vlad's on the Brewmaster, I believe, and that's going to make this a little bit easier for them, sustaining on the front lines with the Anti-Mage, but they're going to lose a tier 2 tower for it. If it's just a tier 1 for Roche, I think it's okay, but I don't know, this movement coming up from CCK, I'm not sure if there's anything better that they could have done. Let's see if it's going to be Crash. If Naga Siren is privy to the fact that they're going to the Roshan pit, she could Song and potentially look for a steal, but she's just not fast enough.
Yeah, the Roshan is going to drop, and I actually really like that from CCK. They know that there is no chance in hell that they could actually make a defense of that tower, so you might as well get something while the enemies are destroying your buildings. That something is actually pretty substantial, and Aegis on Anti-Mage is going to mean that VP are going to have to stagger their disables, stagger their silences just a little bit more if they want to effectively bring him down. Or, you know, DK Phobos can just Viper Strike him twice because he has Aghanims. That is also possible. Regardless, Anti-Mage is going to survive for a little while longer. We'll head on towards his Yasha. Again, a very standard build for the Anti-Mage. We actually do see a Shaker picking up his Blink Dagger. This could be one of those swing items, although with only level 1 Echo Slam, unless he lands the absolute perfect one on 3+ heroes, it's not going to be hugely impactful until Earthshaker gets 2 more levels for level 2 Slam.
Yeah. Right now we're just waiting for either team to make a move. Illidan's not really interested in joining these fights still, even though he has the Radiance Boots of Travel. It's not until Mantistal that Naga Siren really wants to join the fights, and even then, she's pretty okay with just continuing to farm up. Even if you're against an Anti-Mage, there is going to be a point, once Mantistal comes out, that Anti-Mage is probably a bit scarier than the Naga Siren, but at a full 6-slotted build, Naga is just going to be so difficult for them to deal with. So I think Illidan is just going to be chilling for the majority of this game. Picks up an Ultimate Orb over at the side shop. I'm not sure what that's going to be. I presume it's just the Manta style.
I mean, more stats is sometimes a little bit more preferable, especially that HP. It's not cost effective, but you know, he kind of isn't really working with the most item slots right now, so it will most likely just be a very secure item build for him. Phobos on the mid lane, pretty much solo pushing. He knows that he has Mag up on the high ground. Well, now CCK definitely know about that one, but the sustainability of Phobos, along with some help from Mag, especially with that Crimson Guard, it's going to be really hard for CCK to find an engagement here. Even though they do have Ravage split, they will have to time it perfectly and bring down someone within that duration. They have Death Ward level 1, have an Echo Slam. This is possible to kill off Phobos, albeit difficult. With the BKB, it's near impossible, and Brewmaster did not expect a sentry to be there. Oh man, he did not last long at all. That is a BKB used. Not exactly the best use of BKB, but they get a kill on Brewmaster and they get a tower. Really can't be too unhappy about that. It should be VP either pushing high ground right now or going for the last tier 2. Either is going to be a little bit... the high ground's obviously a little bit more difficult, but either are very possible.
Yeah, right now they're chilling, looking for the high ground. They're going to clear the creep wave in a heartbeat just with the double edge, Riptide, the Radiance Burn on top of it. They are committing all of the Naga illusions to this tower and getting a little bit of chip, but for now, CCK don't really want to fight without that split center ultimate on the sidelines. They're going to drop an Echo Slam onto 2 just to escape, as Villic is going to be forced to use that cooldown with a couple of urn charges. They're going to be able to sustain through this, and another one of their big team fight ultimates doesn't accomplish much.
VP, they're just slowly picking away at CCK's defenses. Not as much so the buildings, more so the cooldowns of CCK. They still have a Ravage and a split, and because of that, the revival of the Brewmaster is going to prompt VP into a retreat. It's not really going to bother them too much. I mean, they get a couple kills, they burn a couple of ultimates, and at the end of the day, the goal with all of this is to just buy more space for Naga. She is very close now to her Yasha, and then the Manta style following. CCK, they are looking to potentially put some pressure on her, but they're going to instead bend their way up north. They don't want to go on that wild goose chase for a hero that might not even be there. What they might run into is a Skywrath Mage, but he has a Blink Dagger. Killing him off is going to be very difficult, especially with Viper and Centaur right next to him. So this is going to be a fight that CCK can take, although it might be a little bit more difficult than they're really expecting, unless they just find Lil, who's separated. And they will blink forward for him, but Stampede is going to be used by VP, and they're all going to make a very clean escape.
Yeah, not much else that they can do, and in the meantime, Anti-Mage isn't farming while they're going for that gank, but Naga Siren is. Nikobaby's tried to be involved in some of these engagements where maybe he'd be better served not doing it. If you take a look at the CS, that's really where it shines. 252 on the Naga Siren and only about 150 onto the Anti-Mage.
Granted, a lot of that is going to be reduced bounty for neutral creep, stuff like that, but Illidan just has so much more net worth that you could see the result in pretty much any chart you want to pull up. Naga Siren is ahead. Will most likely stay ahead unless she gets, 5-man wiped along with the rest of VPP, and Anti-Mage is the one to claim the rampage. Outside of that, it's going to be hard. And Villic, he's going to get hit with a full-on Mystic Flare. He will barely survive. However, the Viper Strike actually going towards Suki. They're going to defend their Observer Sentry in the mid lane. Not commit too much except for a mana pool, but it's certainly going to be worth it. Any vision that VP can have right now is going to be very much so worth it for them. I would even like to see them pick up a gem. I feel like it's about that time in the game.
Probably. Right now, DK Phobos is an absolute juggernaut. Almost has the heart completed. In fact, yeah, nothing on the courier, but halfway towards the finished heart after the Reaver. And I just don't think there's much that CCK can do to actually kill him off, especially when the BKB's up. There's just not a chance. CCK are going to be man-fighting up against this Naga Siren, but with a stop double edge, will be able to kill him before he gets the split off. They will! He didn't stand a chance, that Stampede, to secure it. Didn't even have mana to use the split.
At the same exact time, DK Phobos pretty much just bluff pushing the mid lane, pretending like there were many heroes with him when in fact he was all alone. That forced CCK into an awkward position with their Brewmaster, who was like, oh, well, everyone's mid lane. I could afford to do this. A 1v1 against Illidan. Suddenly mag. And that's just a little bit more than he bargained for. So VP definitely playing some mind games. Now they're going to try to go for Villic. FNG in a little bit of trouble, however, completely tapped out of mana. But here comes the Viper Strike. Will not land onto anyone, however. It's still Brewmaster down plus the split down. And though CCK have an Echo Slam back up again, well, VP, they're going to poke and prod at it. And Viper's tanky enough to do so. You might as well get as much free damage as you possibly can. And if you find yourself a opportunity, swap in or blink in with Centaur and or Scarith Mage, and that could very easily turn itself into a kill, and then even more pushing power.
Dire's middle tower is under siege.
Right now, it's just kind of that standoff. They're going to Echo Slam Ravage onto DK Phobos. Ravage also clips onto FNG. With the ultimate coming up from the Witch Doctor, it is going to be enough damage, but they had to blow everything for it. Now TP away for FNG, going to be cancelled. They do find themselves 2 clean kills. Naga Siren wasn't anywhere close, and Lil as well as the Centaur decide to just get out of there as soon as those spells are down. There is going to be an opening where they will have Viper back up, and those spells are not available. Most importantly, the Ravage, but I don't know. It's still a teamfight win for CCK. They kind of catch them off guard.
Yeah, in a big way as well. The Death Ward was really what did the damage. I mean, the Ravage and the Echo Slam, that was all nice in keeping the Viper there. But if the Death Ward wasn't there, the physical damage wasn't there, then Viper would have easily walked away from that one, especially once the BKB came up. So Viper, more vulnerable to physical than magical, as is the case normally for the hero, and he has to watch himself. Suki needs to be disabled in those scenarios, and ordinarily with a Blink Scarith Mage and a Blink Centaur, you can pretty realistically disable the Death Ward after 1.5 seconds max of channeling. That just didn't happen in that last fight, if you could even call that a fight. So VP, they're going to lose 2 heroes, but they're still in firm control of this game. They'll just not push with 4 heroes again. They don't have to. They could wait and split push all day long with the Naga Siren. Now with the Mana Style completed, 3k in the bank. It's very terrifying for everyone in CCK, especially Villic right now, chased down by a Centaur. Does not have much support near him, but he's going to pop BKB, and Earthshaker has no way of escaping this. Constantly chop down, chop, 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 mag on a killing spree.
Yeah. Naga Siren, in the meantime, has overtaken her friendly Viper in the net worth department, working towards that Reaver. Illidan eventually is going to decide to help his team in pushing, and for now they don't have to. Like, sitting on a Naga Siren is fairly easy. You can just let Illidan do exactly what he's doing, farm up the entirety of their jungle as well as push out all of the lanes. Currently, mid and top are being pushed by the Naga, but bottom probably going to be next choice for Boots of Travel in from Illidan, or maybe he's just going to push with the rest of his team. There's nothing really stopping them, and now with the heart on a DK Phobos, even if they drop everything onto him, he still has a chance of surviving.
Yeah, why directly counter push when you could just threaten the enemy's Raxes and force them to come back? Both top lane and mid lane are now under a lot of pressure. With Phobos on the front lines, he's going to be more than happy to tank up everything, because if the Viper's tanking it all, that means the rest of the team isn't. Top lane is also being pushed. Anti-Mage is going to get a tower. I mean, that's nice, I suppose, but I mean, he's kind of losing a little bit more. A tier 2 for a tier 3, and might even be 2 tier 3s as top lane is slowly being chipped down by Siren. And look at the positioning from VP Polar. There's no way that this Ravage is going to land on more than 2 people. Illidan is not even having a part of this fight. He's going to back off and defend his Raxes, but Phobos, just by himself, is taking Raxes right now. Ravage only onto DK Phobos. He also has to swap out if things get bad, and FNG will valiantly save himself, or save the Viper with himself. They're going to try to chase forward CCK, but I don't really know if there's much they get here. Nico Baby's going to be running right around the corner into a stomp. No, they're going to turn around DK Phobos, the BKB up. Going to try to go for Keck, who's silenced right now. Needs to get that split off if he can buy enough time for it, but he's going to actually survive for now. Clean disengage for VP Polar, at least they're looking for it. Lil, probably the only one to be left behind. He has a Blink Dagger cooling down, concussive shot onto Nico Baby. He is going to have a blink soon. He's going to get hit, and now he's going to go down. Range Raxes still alive, so VP, maybe they shouldn't be doing this with their Naga Siren. A Song of the Siren there would have been so amazing.
Yeah. If you just take the song and reset after that Ravage, everything would have gone down the tubes. But they are able to defend the racks, and they get a whole lot of chip damage on the structures of CCK. If they do that again, especially with the Song of the Siren, I expect at least that range barracks in the top tier 3 to fall, if not a melee barracks.
Well, DK Phobos going to be got upon, but turn around from Mag and land a 2-man stomp. Phobos still dropping very low, doesn't have a BKB for another 19. Mag will make it a trade, although losing the Viper not very much so worth it. Nico Baby still in the area, but now here comes Illidan. He's going to do quite a bit of damage to Flawlix. Needs a net. I don't think he uses it just yet, but he's going to get thrown into the air, so there's no net possible. Mag still has another spell to cast, but he can't quite catch up to that Tidehunter after blinking up to the north. Mag going to try to stampede out. Song of the Siren now is going to be used. The Brewmaster still going to go to town, although not much damage coming out from this hero. Might be enough to kill off Mag, although it will be very close. The main form resumed. He's going to get annihilated in the Mystic Flare. No chance for that. Illidan, in the meantime, is fighting up against Nico Baby, who can't blink out in the ensnare. He will barely get out with 70 HP. Villic is not going to be as lucky, I don't expect. Doesn't have enough mana to really do anything, and the Radiance Burn, if nothing else, is going to kill off that Earthshaker. Lots of people surviving on CCK for a lot longer than I thought, but the difference between having a Naga Siren in the fights and off doing something else is huge. We saw how much impact she had just in that last fight, and she's not even 6-slotted.
Yeah. In the fight around the Anti-Mage, he survived because he had some blink support coming out from the Earthshaker. Getting an Echo Slam off barely saved him. It's another defensive Echo Slam, but it's definitely worth it. Illidan now completely tapped out of mana. It's going to be forced out of this lane by Nico Baby and probably have to get back towards his own base, but not before he takes a tier 3 tower. Illidan, incredibly tanky. He's going to be able to get away with this, but not before the deny comes out from the AM, and a little bit of gold taken away from VP Polar, but Naga Siren survives.
And Naga Siren survives and also takes the mid lane of range racks just with 3 illusions. So, you know, split pushing is what Naga Siren really does best at this stage in the game, and she got away with it. Finally, the objective is there for VP. Not exactly the most important objective in the world, but it's going to mean the next push is that much easier. I think I would like to see VP go for this bottom lane tier 2 instead of just constantly bashing their heads into the enemy base. First of all, it'll open the door for mega creeps down the line. Second of all, it's a tier 2 that's at less than half HP. You could probably blow on it and it'll die, and CCK are not going to defend it. So it's a free bag of gold. You might as well collect it right now, although going for Roshan is also pretty good. Flawlix is now going to be aggressed upon by the Naga Siren. Naga Siren with not much mana, however, can't really afford to keep this fight up. Phobos in the Roshan pit going to try to take this one out for the most part by himself. This is something that CCK can punish if they knew about it, but it doesn't seem like they know about it just yet.
Yeah. For now, I expect Illidan to eventually go back to the base, but maybe he's just going to wait until the Roshan's there and pick up Mages for himself. They might give it to somebody else, and it looks like DK Phobos is the one to pick that up, and I suppose it makes sense, at least the way that they've been approaching these pushes, letting Viper soak up everything on the front lines and then having Illidan clean up afterwards. Even if they drop all their ultimates to kill off this Viper once, it's doubtful to be able to kill him a second time. And the second time is where Viper really shines. Once everybody is down to about half HP already, and lucky enough for Illidan, he didn't even need that extra regen as he finds himself a regen rune.
And Naga Siren going to be back up at full, and they are going to go for bottom lane. Looks like VP heard and will heed my advice. Illidan's going to mess with Nico Baby just a little bit, but can't really do that much. Doesn't really want to lose her mana pool, the Naga Siren, but she's going to lose it anyway. Unfortunately for Illidan, he will be forced to sing and probably make his escape, or to sit there. He does have Scarth Mage incoming. If they have a net with a silence, that could be a kill on Nico Baby. Where's the net? There's silence is there, but no mana for a net. And wait, Manta Style split. That got him out of there. Anti-Mage is going to slip away. And, well, Illidan, once again, with no mana. Not really a useful hero at that point, but they did take a tier 2 tower, and they didn't really lose that much in exchange. Now the split push since all the tier 2 towers are down, is going to be a lot more constricting for VPP. They're still going to go for this mid lane push with only 3 heroes. Granted, they do have the Aegis, but this could end up very badly for DK Phobos, as Rain was going to deal with Anti-Mage from behind. Phobos in the BKB form, now going to try to go turn around for Villic, not doing nearly enough damage. He's gone for a pure tanky build. It's going to be Nico Baby, take a hoof stomp in the back line. They're trying to peel Anti-Mage away from this Venge, but here comes Illidan. Still not with that much mana, is going to land a net onto Anti-Mage regardless. Force Staff out, going to keep Anti-Mage a little bit safe, and Flawlix also is in the front lines, bluffing a Ravage potentially, but Mag is going to call it, jumps forward for Flawlix. There's a split from the Panda, trying to get a kill onto DK Phobos, but he's way too tanky right now. Tidehunter already down. Now Suki on the run. Yule's Scepter, or the Cyclone rather, onto the Naga Siren is going to keep her out of the fight. So it's a lot of damage they don't have to worry about until she comes back down, and then we have deaths everywhere. The Viper is going to lose his Aegis to the Brewmaster, but CCK, they've already lost 3 heroes, and they're going to lose a 4th in Keck. Now Hoof Stomps up, doesn't have a blink out. Assault Cuirass or not, he's going to go down. Only Anti-Mage to survive. He does have a Mana Void. The Miracle Dream is there, potentially, but probably not going to happen. Mid lane completely destroyed, top lane soon to be completely destroyed, and CCK, they're on their deathbed.
Yeah, they need to buy back immediately, and even if they do, they don't have Ravage, they don't have Split, they will have Echo Slam and the Witch Doctor ultimate, but that doesn't matter. That's 2 lanes, and GG well played. Called out by Suki. It seems that VP Polar, they were winning the game 4v5, and then once you add Illidan to it, it just makes it so easy to push high ground.
Yeah, it turns out 5v5 games are a lot easier to win than 4v5 games, guys. So keep that in mind as we move on to our next game. VP Polar are going to be taking on CCK in one more game for this group, but right now I do believe VP Polar are at the top, or if not near the top, somewhere around there. So they're looking really good in this tournament so far, but don't go anywhere, guys. Stay tuned. We have another game between VP and CCK coming up in just a little bit.